2014 was a decisive year, a watershed moment not just for India but the rest of the world as well. Narendra Modi finally made it to the Red Fort, the Bulls took charge of Dalal Street, the global growth that's finally upbeat, the year of the big deals in India, the year that a new world order emerged at Infosys, the year of the billion-dollar babies that were born, the year that greed messed up cricket, and of course the year that the gods were with Godse. I'm Supriya, Shrinate, and you're watching Top 10 of 2014. Straight on to our top story on this show then. 2014 has changed the political landscape in India beyond imagination. Politics took a decisive right turn. Narendra Modi rode into the 7 racecourse road with 282 parliamentary seats. He promised Achhe Din, and an India clamouring for change endorsed him with an absolute majority, the first in 30 years. So is Prime Minister Modi going to change how New Delhi works, or could his agenda get overshadowed by the blatant and rash communal politics dangerously unfolding in India? The ascent of Narendra Damodar Das Modi and how this impacts India's destiny is our top story on Top 10 of 2014.
Tsunami Modi sweeps India. Narendra Modi के देश के अगले प्रधानमंत्री होंगे.
Modi will be the next prime minister.
देश ने अपना भाग्य नरेंद्र मोदी के नाम कर दिया.
BJP is poised to take over.
नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी सदन में पहली बार मेरा प्रवेश भी नया है और भाषण का अवसर भी पहली बार हो रहा है। विश्व के सामने एक ताकतवर के रूप में प्रस्तुत होने का समय आ गया। मैं एक कर्ज चुकाऊंगा, आपके सपनों का भारत बना करके कर्ज चुकाऊंगा। भारत माता की, भारत माता की। अगर हम सपने लेकर के चलते हैं तो सपने पूरे भी होंगे।
If 2014 was the year that saw the Modi magic unfold, it was also the year that marks the decimation of the Congress party, which paid a heavy price for misgovernance, the multi-billion-dollar scams, and of course the policy paralysis of its own government. Congress's tally of 206 seats in 2009 sunk to its lowest ever of just 44. Worse still, in the span of the next 7 months, the grand old party has lost one state after another to Modi's BJP. A reluctant prince, a party in disarray. Did the Congress die in 2014?
It really was a tsunami. The Narendra Modi wave crushed the Congress completely. No political pundit had ever predicted this. From a 206, the Congress sunk to a mere 44 seats in the Lok Sabha, the lowest in its 130-year history. After a decade in office, weak leadership, misgovernance and multiple scams resulted in this rout. The Congress did not win even a single seat in 7 states. It merely won 2 in UP. One Congress veteran after another bit the dust. And there were some who even lost their deposit. Rahul Gandhi had failed. Allies deserted the sinking ship and the mutiny was coming to light.
We are not satisfied in the approach and the way of functioning to achieve the goal.
Within 7 months after the loss in general elections, the Congress lost 5 states, one after the other. It lost Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Haryana, Jharkhand and Jammu and Kashmir. Maharashtra, a state the Congress had ruled for 60 out of the 67 years after independence, was the ultimate bastion to fall. The Congress had clearly failed to read the mood of the nation on the move, which had rejected entitlements and instead wants to be empowered. It wants development and not dole-outs. Rahul Gandhi continues to be influenced by a coterie. Sonia is a spent force, and Priyanka has so far shown little or no inclination beyond the family bastions in Uttar Pradesh. Congress needs to reinvent, and admitting the need to do so will be the first step. So far, it looks like a party in denial.
At the start of this year, Indian economy was in absolute despair. Steeply high inflation, wide deficits, a complete lack of confidence. From corporate tycoons to the last-mile consumer, from policymakers to the humble farmers. Things were bad. Modi's ascent with the promise of a magical fix was just perhaps what the voters needed. Fortunately enough, 7 months since, retail inflation is at a record low. The twin deficits seem to be largely under control, and India is without a doubt an emerging market darling. Top corporates vouch for the Achhe Din.
The new government has created a lot of excitement around the globe. The readiness is there now, and that's the starting point. Blueprints are probably being made, and you'll start seeing a lot of investment coming through soon.
I see signs that the flywheel is beginning to move. We should not expect miracles overnight, but if we do all the right things and if we get support from continued deregulation, a little dose every day of reform, coupled with some interest rate reduction, I think by the first quarter of the next fiscal year, you will see palpable signs of growth.
I believe that we are coming to a cusp where Achhe Din are looking closer and for the economy, and I see a pickup of the economy pretty significantly in calendar 2015.
The two important things that have been done so far, one is really improve the global perception of India. The second, I think there has been a big push and thrust towards manufacturing.
Now, how much of it can actually be attributed to policy initiatives? Is this merely a case of Achhe Din or Achhe Sitare instead? Is this a sustainable strength in the Indian economy or a momentary breeze under the hot sun? We get to you the best expert take. Kanhaiya.
The big achievement is the curbing of inflation, and this has been Achhe Sitare. There is the fall in the oil price, fall in other commodity prices, edible oil prices, coal prices. So all of this has helped India. It has helped tame inflation. Having said that, will this good luck carry on into 2015? Frankly, I am now seeing some dark clouds on the horizon. I don't know whether it will become a thunderstorm, but the crash that we saw in the ruble and in Russia has some ominous echoes of the Asian financial crisis of 1997-98. I think there is a great danger of Bure Din coming. Let's not talk too much of Achhe Sitare or Achhe Din. There are risks in the global economy. You may still call them dark clouds on the horizon, but they are coming towards us.
No matter how you slice the data, by all accounts, 2014 is when the bulls took charge of Dalal Street. It's been a fantastic year for Indian stock markets as they smashed record highs this year. Truckloads of foreign money poured into local equities as fund managers sought to translate Modi's ascendance to stock gains. Fueling the rally further are hopes that the RBI may finally ease its iron grip on interest rates and push financing costs lower for corporate India. How did the markets behave and who were the biggest gainers? We've got Aisha Faridi to fill us in with all the details.
Well, smashed all records this year, 2014. In fact, we've gained almost about 31%. It's the best gain the Nifty has seen since 2009. Breaching the 8600 mark, we rose as much as 37%. And India quite clearly is the second best performing market in Asia after China. We posted absolute returns this year with major indices gaining anywhere between about 4.5% to 66%. Mid-caps, banks, consumer durables, autos, capital goods, these were the top performing sectors. The mid-cap index managed a gain of about 65%. The PSU Bank Index up 63%, and the CNX Bank Index, that jumped a good 62%. Metals was the eyesore. That was a bit of an underperformer. Metals, real estate, energy, technology and FMCG, in fact, they were the worst performing sectors. 43 out of the Nifty 50 stocks posted gains, with 7 Nifty stocks losing about 0.2% to about 43%. JSPL being the top loser and Maruti being the top notcher on the index.
So in the next 3 years, you can see a Nifty or a next 5 years, you can see a Nifty or a Sensex which is 3 times present values, and higher savings will lead to higher growth. Second thing is it will have wage increases will be real, right? It will put demand, it will put power of the demand, and then it will reduce because interest rates will come down. It will reduce the hurdle rates for investment. And it will reduce the discounting rate for stock markets, so P's will go.
2014 is the year that monetary stimulus proved its worth. Governments around the world resorted to a similar arsenal of tools to manage their economies. Far from being divided by geography or ideology, countries seem to be largely in the same boat. It's the year that marks the pickup in the American economy. A year where Eurozone has thrown up fresh concerns, a year where China could slow down even further, and a year where fault lines deepened in Russia. 2014, though, is also the year of the global crude crash. How do things stack up as the world economy enters 2015? Tanveer Gill with the details.
Well, thanks, Supriya, for that. 2014 was, of course, a polarized year for world markets, with the US clearly standing out. Growth numbers picked up there. We saw QE ending in October, but that didn't bring jitters for the market because US equities closed at record highs. And the dollar index rallied more than 10%. That, of course, was a bit of a pain point for the yen and the euro. In fact, the European region was marked by deflation worries. That impacted sentiment on European equities, which clearly underperformed for the year. There is expectation of the ECB stepping up on stimulus, which would bring about a revival in the economy. The euro for the better part of this year was weaker against the dollar. China continues to struggle with its growth concerns, the slowdown concerns there, trying to defend actually the 7% mark on growth as the central bank tries to boost lending activities. Then, of course, you had Japan, where Abenomics is struggling to revive the economy. There's much talk about how fiscal support needs to extend out to monetary policy stance. But the yen for the better part of this year was weaker, and the expected trade going forward is also one of a negative bias on the yen. Coming to the big talking point towards the end of the year, Russia, massive rate hikes, ruble crashing, talk about recession risk as well as default risk rising in 2015, brought about a fair amount of risk aversion within the emerging market basket, especially for emerging market currencies. The other reality was subdued oil prices, and that's something that the market needs to adjust to, a new normal on oil prices. In fact, we have Vandana Hari talk about that.
One of the major reasons for the pessimism, the bearishness in the markets this year has been moderating growth in these countries as well. Now, partly some of that is, of course, because of the economic slowdown, but also people are increasingly talking about the reduced oil intensity in China, and it's only a matter of time before it comes to India as well. So as the economies shift from manufacturing to more service oriented, we are unlikely to see high single-digit or double-digit oil demand growth rates.
We take a quick breather here on Top 10 of 2014. We come back with the big deals, a new world order at Infosys, the billion-dollar babies, the IPL mess, and of course the World Cup magic. Great to be back with you once again on Top 10 of 2014. Now, Dalal Street was buzzing with some big bank M&A in all of 2014, powered by two large old-stock transactions. Uday Kotak turned deal maker with Kotak Mahindra Bank's $2.4 billion takeover of ING Vaishya that will create India's fourth largest private sector lender with nearly 10 million customers. Sun Pharmaceuticals' $3.2 billion purchase of Ranbaxy makes Dilip Shanghvi the top drug maker in India and the fifth largest in the world. Nisha Poddar gets us details of the big-ticket deals of 2014.
Now, larger of the two is the merger of Ranbaxy with Sun Pharma, a deal worth a whopping 20,000 crore rupees, which makes the combined entity the largest pharma company in India and puts Dilip Shanghvi right on top. Now, Japan's Daiichi may have got a good deal too, with 9% stake in bigger and better Sun Pharma. The duo will have a presence in 65 countries across the world with a strong pipeline of over 180 ANDAs. Now, both the companies will have to divest about 7 drugs for the merger to go through, as has been directed by the Competition Commission. Let's take it to the banking sector, and Uday Kotak went up the pecking order in the banking space in India by announcing the merger of ING Vaishya Bank with Kotak Mahindra Bank, a deal worth 15,000 crore rupees. Merged entity will be the fourth largest private bank in the country. It will have a combined market cap of over 1 trillion rupees, and through this merger, ING will own about 6.5% in Kotak Mahindra Bank. Now, presence of these banks, remember, in the domestic market complement each other, with ING bringing to the table its wide presence in South India, which Kotak Mahindra Bank lacked.
Over to the management change of the year, where it was the end of an era at Infosys because the corner office here has always been the bastion of the founders. But for the first time in the company's 3-decade history, the founders logged out, paving the way for its first known founder CEO, Vishal Sikka. His appointment was brave and also unconventional, considering he actually comes from a products background at SAP. But his reputation as a technology visionary has given Infosys a much-needed facelift and was going through turbulent times. Sikka, who's had a good run so far, is confident of restoring Infy's bellwether status.
We are a growth company. We want to be focused on growth and innovation, and so we see a great opportunity to take advantage of that cash towards growth in many different ways. But It is too early to say exactly in what ways, and we will do that in the April timeframe. So over the next 1 to 2 quarters, as we become more precise about articulating what the areas of growth are and what their implications are.
What are the key changes that Sikka has brought out in the last 5 months, and what are the challenges as he seeks to resurrect emphasis in the coming years? We've got Chandra Srikanth with the details.
If you look at the key changes that Sikka has brought about in the last few months, he's been able to instill confidence among investors and analysts in the new strategy. It is getting reflected in the Infosys stock price and valuation. He's also initiated a lot of employee engagement programs through initiatives such as murmuration, a lot of training initiatives in areas such as design thinking, setting aside a fund that will focus on startups, and finally getting his own crack team comprising former SAP executives. But if you look at the 3 key challenges for him in the year ahead, it's clearly going to be to translate all the talk in the last few months to execution and see if Infosys can regain that bellwether status. Secondly, cash usage strategy, that's something that they still haven't outlined as yet. And lastly, the need to balance investment with the margin expectations that the market has.
Eye-popping valuations, founders who have turned billionaires overnight, and employee wealth creation on a scale that was last seen during the IT services boom. This heady cocktail defines the watershed year that 2014 was for e-commerce in India. But can multiple players thrive, or will the new year ring in a shakeout in the space? Chandra Srikanth with all the details.
He's one of the 25 richest men in the world who's placed a $2 billion bet on India. But Jeff Bezos, the big daddy of global e-commerce, will not have it easy in India, as Amazon has to fend off intense competition from homegrown success stories like Flipkart and Snapdeal. But that's a battle Bezos is ready for, because India is a market worth fighting for.
Well, we're here because a year ago, when we started Amazon India, we had high hopes and we were optimistic, but in the last year what's happened has surpassed our highest expectations for how fast Amazon India has grown. So it's been a really fun trip. And I find India super energizing.
Investors have logged in, and how? In 2014, the e-commerce space saw investments worth $2.8 billion across 31 deals. Flipkart topped the charts. Snapdeal came second. The e-commerce space has also got the big league excited. While Ratan Tata has made personal investments in Snapdeal, Bluestone and Urban Ladder, Mukesh Ambani is stitching up plans for an e-commerce foray.
The current scale the companies have reached and the future potential. What's driving a lot of valuations today is that the fact that market is growing faster than what everybody expected it to grow. And that will drive up valuation.
Nomura expects the internet industry to quadruple from $10 billion in 2013 to $43 billion over the next 5 years, driven by online retail. While the going seems good for now, the coming year will show if India will still have place for an Amazon, Flipkart and Snapdeal, when US just has Amazon and China is dominated by Alibaba. And if single category e-tailers can thrive, or if they will succumb to a shakeout. Chandra Srikanth, ET Now, Bangalore.
Switch gears and talk about cricket, because more than 10 years ago, a fixing scandal marred the image of cricket across the world. But as a new generation of cricketers repeated that mistake, one of the sport's most stolid properties fell from grace. As the conspiracy unraveled, the guardians of Indian cricket were found to be hand in glove with the miscreants, leaving the fans who worship the sport with a bad aftertaste. Here are details of what now appears to be the League of Inglorious Men.
Once upon a time, it was a gentleman's game.
Sold 1,400.
And then money changed it all. Nothing symbolizes the change better than the IPL. A heady cocktail of big money, glamour, drama and some cricket. A carnival of sorts, but things weren't clean. And exposing the dirty underbelly of this cricket extravaganza was this man, Justice Mudgal.
I was assigned a task by the Honorable Supreme Court
The committee has done to the best of its ability. Now it's for the Honorable Supreme Court, who will surely do justice in the matter. Please have faith in our judicial system.
The Mudgal panel report is yet to be made public, but what is no longer private knowledge is that Gurunath Mayappan and Raj Kundra had shamed the game. The top court even hinted at scrapping the Chennai Super Kings team. After all, its team principal had been found guilty of betting. Srinivasan, who's been forced to step aside as BCCI president, has left no stone unturned to make a comeback. But the court has thwarted all of it, as it emphatically stated that he hasn't been given a clean sheet. In fact, the Supreme Court even raised tough questions on conflict of interest. Players, administrators, politicians, commentators, they all have their skin and money in what once used to be the gentleman's game. Trust has been completely eroded, skeletons keep tumbling out of the closet, and the enthusiastic fan wonders if that shot or swing was indeed for real or a big bet.
On to the last story of Top 10 of 2014. It was an extended carnival in Rio this year as the football fever gripped all of Brazil soon after the annual Samba festival. It was a sport they loved, but yet the country was divided over the issue of hosting the World Cup. Despite all odds, the FIFA World Cup 2014 went underway with the European nation bagging the trophy third time in a row. A record in itself, actually. Germany's fourth World Cup title was coloured with shock and awe, particularly the 7-1 victory against the host nation in the first semi-final. The gods, as they say, were clearly what goats say. We relive the soccer magic from World Cup 2014 right here on Top 10.
Festival of football is about to begin.
We take a quick breather here on this very special edition, but there's plenty more that's coming up that you cannot afford to miss. Great to be back with you on this very special edition. There's so much more that we wanted to pack in, but there's some stories that are perhaps best told in pictures. Top 10 most defining images of 2014 is what we relive for you right here on this show.
A school in Pakistan was attacked today by the Taliban.
हम उधर छुप गए थे और मरने का नाटक कर रहे थे। सर पे मारे यहाँ पर।
The lightning advance of ISIS in Iraq.
This James right for an American citizen of your country.
ومجالدة أعداء الله.
If you threaten America, you will find no safe haven.
Flight CZ8501 gone missing.
Massive floods in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. More than 50 people have died.
But the waters have yet to start receding.
Very worrying situation there, and what are the authorities doing?
People are asking for help.
I know now it's time to say goodbye, but over the last few days I have realised goodbye isn't forever.
Rest in peace, my little brother. I'll see you out in the middle.
आज
मंगल को मॉम मिल गई. History has been created today.
Let this be the last time that a child loses life in war. Let this be the last time that we see a child out of school.
There is no greater violence than to deny the dreams of our children.
It's a wrap on this edition of Top 10 of 2014. It's been a pleasure bringing the show to you. Take care of yourselves and have a great new year ahead.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.